Hi, my name is Dawn Murtaugh, and I'm here at the Southwest Indiana Arts Council to talk about the exhibit brought to you by SACA, Studio Art Quilt Associates. And that is an international organization, and this is a project created by one regional area. The Indiana regional area is comprised of 15 artists who have joined together to form a 60-piece exhibit called Collaboration 2021. So we came up with this idea where we would play the child's game of whisper, and it was, but visual, and we used a starting photograph from each of the 15 members. They each sent that to the next person in their little pod. It was a pod of 5 people. And they would take, then each artist would get 1 month to create their interpretation of that photograph. So everybody started on round 1 with a photograph. Round 1 interpreted this photograph. There's a small snail inside that yellow flower. So a person who has much of her work consists of endangered species of insects, and she created this giant snail, and then after her month was up, she sent a picture only of the snail to the next person in round 2. This person liked this shape, and like the child's game of whisper, only parts of that game, parts of that idea came across. So the snail shape comes here, and this artist prints all her own fabric. So she highlighted that with the shapes and then some of her wording. So round 3, this person received only this picture. And she saw all these words and the circles. She created this, and it says blah, 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 blah all over it, because these words impacted her greatly. So for the 4th round, this person sent her picture here. And you can see what happened. Here we have circles, circles, circles. Whoops, no circles. But we do have the continuity of the greens coming through in each of them. And the blues didn't come here, but the blues really became strong here. So there was generally a theme that was running through each one. This person said all of this blah, 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 blah reminded her that she needed peace and quiet. And so she did a cyanoprint of leaves that reminded her of walking in nature. So this particular section was a fairly literal translation until it got more toward the end, but you can feel the artists collaborating with each other, the ideas growing and inspiring. So for us, this is the collaborative part of it, how each artist inspires another one. Now for the second part, I'd like to show you how the artists can really play with what happens when they receive information. The beginning picture for this pod was a tunnel with a train line going through it. The first iteration was she created basically the same lines in a basic picture and then cut it up and moved the squares around like one of those little puzzle games we played when we were kids. And so the elements were all here, but it became an abstract. When this picture, not receiving this picture, only getting this information, was sent to the second round, she saw the abstractness of it and decided to just go with that. She kept the color palette of the blacks, browns, and greens and added her own splash of a bright red just to make a different focal point. And then her picture, took a picture of this. The third round, this person felt it looked quite like a Kandinsky inspiration. And she took that and made it more floral. She felt like the colors had a lot of nature to them. So she used the black background, kept the nice sharp and curved lines that came from here, but she didn't know it. They showed up here. And so she used the curved lines and all of the colors to do a much greater interpretation of Kandinsky. She sent, for the fourth round and final round, this is the big jump, to this picture. And this person saw the abstract and said, I just don't get abstracts. That's not the kind of work I do, and I'm not seeing it. I've tried it, and it's not working. So she let that sit for a while, and she came up with this. If you look very carefully, you'll see all the elements here. She changed the color palette, yes, but she kept the greens and into the reds, the fuchsia would translate there. The nice, sharp, pointed lines were inspired by these lines. This rounded curve can be seen again here. These squiggly shapes come into the plant stems that are bending all over. And so you see that we each interpret art differently. When we see something, it inspires something else in us. It may remind us of something at our grandmother's house. It may remind us of a comic book we read. It could be anything, but something sparks something else, and that's what is the collaborative effect of all of these panels that we have here. So there are 60 different iterations, and there will be explanations of the artist's thought under each when you come and see it. I hope you do, and I hope you enjoy it, and maybe you'll do your take on one of these.